Welcome back to week 219 of Monday's Light Codes Messages. Today it's the 25th, which is the 7th of the 7th month. So we have two sevenths in here today, very sacred day. And today it took all my effort not to cry my way through the light codes because it was so divine. I was so touched by the divine. You might be able to still hear it in my voice. Very divine. What I saw for our direction right now, the first vision that I saw was what looked like a pyramid with a lot of rays at the top beaming out. And that quickly changed to what looked more like a volcano or a topless mountain. But in the hollow of the mountain was being birthed there was a ball of light being birthed upwards, coming up from within this volcano-like structure, and also this amazing light beaming out from it. So this, I feel, is us birthing a new light, a new energy coming forward from us, and we need to be ready, we need to prepare. And that brings me to this, that before I talk about the next vision, I've had a calling for some years now, quite a few years actually, to go to a particular monastery in Egypt. And this monastery belongs to St. Paul of Thebes. And St. Paul was born in Alexandria in 200 and something or other. And he had to flee. I'll just give you a short version of it. He fled persecution from the Romans into the desert, into the eastern desert in Egypt, not far from the Red Sea. And he ended up living in a cave for 91 years, just praying and being devoted to God. And nobody knew he was there. He was unknown and unseen for 91 years. And then there was another monk who Saint Anthony, who was living in a cave about 90 kilometers away. And he also had been there for a long time, had decided to head to the seclusion of the desert and the cave to do his thing. And he thought he was the most pious of all, until one day he received a message from God that told him that he was not the most pious, that there was somebody more sacred than he and living not far from him, and that he needed to find him. So he also was an old man, but he set off into the desert with the guidance of God, to seek out this St. Paul or Paul. And along the way, he met with different challenges, and eventually he found St. Paul in his cave. And St. Paul at first denied his entry because he had been living alone for so long, and he trusted the animals and nature, but not the people. And then when he realized that St. Anthony was of pure spirit, he welcomed him in, and they became friends, and they told stories and blah, 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 blah. And then because St. Paul was so old, he knew that he was nearing his death. So he sent St. Anthony off back to his monastery or his place of residence or whatever in the desert to get this cloak that he had been given from the Pope. And by the time St. Anthony came back, he found that St. Paul had already dropped his body. And St. Paul, of course, had done this because he wanted to be alone while he went home to God. And so he found him in prayer position, and he was worried because he knew that he couldn't dig him a grave, and this man was so sacred. What could he do? How could he honor him in such a way? And two lions came from behind the mountain and dug a grave for St. Paul. There were other miracles also besides this as well, but I'm just giving you a very quick version. And these two, and so St. Paul was buried there near his cave, or in his cave. And these two monks and their monasteries are the oldest and most sacred in Egypt. And because St. Paul ascended from this cave, I have a deep passion within me to visit places of ascension and etheric temples. And so this place has called me for a long time, but it's, not always open. And I've always picked the wrong time, so I've not been able to get there, or it's been too hot or whatever. And meanwhile, I have answered the call, and I will be going there on the 4th of August, in the hottest time of the year, by the way. So this time I decided I have to go. I know I have to go. I've been called. I must go. And so I'm going on a pilgrimage to St. Paul's Cave, and it seems to be influencing the light codes that are coming through this week. And interestingly enough, the monastery will be closed from the 6th of August for 55 days for fasting for the Coptic Christians. So I didn't know that, by the way. So I just made it this particular time. So for me, that is a miracle. Anyway, I want to go on with the visions that I saw during today's light codes, because I still have this overwhelming emotion within me. Some call that the Holy Spirit. I call it touching God. I saw a little building that I recognized, and this little building is actually the monastery of St. Paul. His monastery is not so big. It's a little one high on the mountain, but I can't tell you exactly yet because, of course, I haven't been there. And St. Anthony's is a greater area, but this is just a small area for St. Paul. And I saw what I believe is the building that they have built upon the area to begin the monastery of St. Paul. And so I know that this is an etheric, an area where there is an etheric temple with a saint or a master named Paul, St. Paul of Thebes, not to be confused with other St. Pauls. The next vision I had, so we're in Omega here, and Omega is what we have to do. So I see the monastery, which basically means I have to go. That's what I have to do. And that's what we have to do. That's what these light codes are going to do. They are going to take us to this sacred place, to this etheric temple that you will go to also, not just me. You will go. When you listen to the light codes, you will be taken to this sacred place. The next vision that I had was also in Omega. and it was a big, looked like a crater in the ground, a big hollowed out area. It's connected with this monastery in some way. And all I got from that was that this is a portal. I don't know much about craters. I have to look it up after. And I don't think there is a crater there. I don't really know. We will soon find out. But I saw this crater, which feels like maybe it's like often craters are created by, you know, heavenly bodies crashing to the earth. And so maybe this is a portal. Sorry, the emotions are very strong. Bringing the energies to earth. I didn't know how sacred this journey was going to be, but I'm feeling it now. In the heart space, I saw another building. This building looked kind of a little bit more like a castle, but I knew it wasn't a castle. I knew it as another heart or another monastery. And I do believe that this is St. Anthony's Monastery. I wasn't giving so much importance to St. Anthony, but my emotions tell me that this is also a very sacred place and to take this very important. So this was in the heart space because it was in St. Anthony's heart. He knew, he had been told there is someone more sacred than he. And when St. Paul wouldn't allow him to come in, he wouldn't roll the rock across from his cave to allow him in. St. Anthony had said to him, even if you don't let me in, even if you don't see me, he had seen wolves, etc., going into his cave. And he said, you accept the animals, but you won't accept me. Even if you don't allow me in, I will stay here until I die. So it was coming from his heart, from his soul, very deep devotion to this one that he recognized as greater than he. These two monasteries, these two etheric temples, I am going to call them, because you could say the second one looked more like a temple. They both looked a little bit like a temple in a sense. These etheric temples hold different energies and different purposes, of which I am still to learn. But they definitely need to be recognized together, and they are only 90 kilometers away from each other. Now this trip, I am just, I'm going to receive the light codes, and I will be doing some sacred healings for people while I'm there, to pass on those light codes, and later the light codes will be available to purchase. But I intend possibly next year, next winter, Egypt, to do a sacred pilgrimage tour to St. Paul and St. Anthony's Monastery, because there is a trek that you can take between both monasteries. I don't know how long it takes to walk between the two, but I'm soon going to find out. It's not, obviously not 90 kilometers, because in my research it says that you can walk it, but you need a guide to do it, and obviously not to do it in the summer. So this is something that I really want to look into. Anyway, after this, as we moved out into the aura, or out through the chakras, in fact, through the unification of the chakras, because remember, when I do these light codes sessions, what we're doing is we're doing a healing. We're doing a healing for the collective. We're doing a healing for that is for ourselves. So when you're listening to them, you're receiving this healing, but the energy is also for the collective. And so the energies of the chakras are being expanded to bring unification into the chakras, so that all chakras are unified with the heart. And as it was expanding out to the throat and and the solar plexus. I saw a vision of a master or a monk or a very holy person standing. I could just see them in my peripheral vision, and they were holding a sword upright, the sword of truth. But also I felt this sword was signifying again devotion and that striving forward. It was very much about this striving forward. Body actually I can't remember if I saw that in the emotional body or where I said, but in any case it doesn't matter. But in the lower mental body, what I saw, the lower mental body is about our thoughts and conditioning and what we have, what we believe. And in here I saw a vision of an ancient time when people were persecuted. So this would have been like the time when the Romans persecuted the Christians and the witches and this kind of thing. So I saw this vision that I knew was representing persecution. So if there is a part in you that believes or still remembers and hangs on to that lingering memory from past lives of persecution, these light codes, this healing is to help you to heal that part of you, to heal that memory, to let it go, to let it go. Because the next vision that I saw, still in the lower mental body, was of a very slender ancient. And this could have been St. Paul himself, but I don't think so, because St. Paul only wore palm leaves as his garment. I think it was Ascended Master Serapis, in fact, because he always, or often in his ascended self, presents himself as a very slender form, and he was known as the Egyptian, a very slender form dressed in the white garment. And so if you have to let go of the belief or the memories of persecution if you want to ascend, because Ascended Master Serapis is all about ascension. And this is what my work is all about. It's all about ascension, and I'm guided to places and to help people to receive the light codes, to help people to ascend. And then the vision after this in the same area was that similar to the Hierophant. So this is about finding something, a teacher maybe, or your higher self even, to guide you, to be in that space, to be able to guide you, to let go of the lower mind and go higher. The masters are there to help us. They are our teachers. Find a teacher to guide you. If you need a teacher in the physical, okay, but if you are able to let go of that, you can still follow the guidance of your teachers in the higher realms, the ascended masters. Because if you hold on to those persecution memories and belief within you that you're always going to be persecuted, crucified, whatever, you can't get past there. You can't get past that and into the ascension. You have to let go of all the old wounds. In the higher mental body, which is the intuitive plane, I saw somebody on their knees, kneeling over with their head on the floor. They were dressed in a soft yellow garment, simple garment, and they were praying. And this is about devotion. To reach your higher self, to receive the intuitive messages, you need to be devoted to your higher self, devoted to your spiritual path, devoted. You need to tap into that essence of devotion. And how do you do that? You do that by praying, you do that by meditating, you do that by all your spiritual practices. They are a form of devotion, devoting yourself to the highest path. Devote yourself to the highest path, whatever that is. You don't have to be devoted to being a teacher or anything, but you need to be devoted to your higher self, to working toward raising your consciousness, rising higher, to ascending, devoted to your ascension. Think about St. Anthony and St. Paul and what they left. You know, they were both born into very wealthy families, and they left everything and went to the desert and lived as hermits. So they are of the desert fathers, and the desert fathers are something I want to look more into. So they gave up everything to devote their life to God, and they were not being recognized, especially St. Paul. He was not being recognized. He was not doing it for anyone to say, oh, you're a good guy or anything else, or look how wonderful he is. He was living as a hermit with nothing, feeding off just the dates from the trees, and apparently a crow, I think, a raven used to bring half a loaf of bread for him, which is a gift from God somehow that was given to him every day that he was there. But the day that St. Anthony arrived, he sent one whole loaf of bread for them to share. I'm not a religious person. I didn't grow up with religion, but I truly honor those that are devoted to God and to their higher path and purpose. And I don't let religion get in the way for me in any way whatsoever. So for anybody that may want to say, oh, this is all religious, no, it's not. No, it's not. This is about honoring those that understood that there is something, a greater way, a better way, and they did that for whatever they were doing. That was their way. And this is a very sacred place with very sacred energies. And I'm very excited to be going in not very long. So this week, at this time prior to going there, I am preparing myself. The first card today, today in the way that the numerology is done that I do, it becomes a 5611, which is a very high frequency and is very much about tapping into those super sensitive parts of ourselves, the higher parts of ourselves that receives the wisdom and greater healing. And the first card today is the 56, of course, becomes 11, and the first card is an 11, and it says nurture yourself first. So nurture yourself first. You know, if you need to sleep, go into the deep sleep, allow the divine energies to pour over you, to work through you, to lift you up and enlighten you. And the second card today is the card number 8, events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over. Delays are over. What have you been waiting for? Delays are over. Many things happening at once. So this is in the sacral chakra. So it could be to do with relationship. It could be to do with whatever you are trying to create within your life. It could be to do with healing the inner child. But the delay is over. The healing is taking place. Transformation is happening and new beginnings are coming forward, as we can see in the solar plexus. This really is a solar plexus in full power with the sun here. Bright new beginnings, beautiful, beaming, purposeful solar plexus. You are on track, you are on purpose. Believe in yourself. When you feel the joy, when you feel the excitement, hold on to that. You know, be in it, be conscious with it, and allow it to build, allow it to build, allow it to build. In the heart chakra, find balance. Find balance in whatever it is that you're doing, family life, work, spiritual work, fun, play, whatever. Find some balance, but always remember to allow time for your spiritual practice, for your building of your own energies. And in the throat today, we have the Queen of Wands. And here she is. This is also a fire energy. I think Wands are fire energy. This is also about new growth. and tapping into that magic. You know, I see the cat as me, the black cat as being to do with your magic, that part of you. She's very confident. This connects with this card because she's dressed in yellow, very confident in what she is doing, and she's wearing a blue cape, which is her spirituality. So she's allowing herself to shine. She's finding her shine. If you think that you lost your shine, this is time to find your shine. She has the sunflower always looking toward God, wearing that blue cape. This is the spiritual essence of she. That is what she does. That is what she's talking about. And she wears a crown, which, you know, saying that I'm going to be the most magnificent me. I am the ruler of my own realm. I know what I'm about. I know how to go forward and get what I want. This is about being in the truth, which connects with that sword of truth. Go forward, keep going forward. Interestingly, there's two lions at the top there. I don't know what the lions mean, but anyway, two lions dug the grave for St. Paul. And in the brow chakra today, we have card number 5, higher love and wisdom, Hathor, Set and Wadjet. Higher love and wisdom, that is what you want to tap into, that higher love, which that, you know, that sometimes it touches you and makes you cry, that higher love, which means that you're tapping into the true wisdom, that the truth is there, that you are holding that sword, you are moving forward. Trust in that. Hathor, Set and Wadjet. And all of this is leading to freedom, liberation and freedom. And look at this halo behind her head. She has become enlightened. We are on the path to enlightenment. Trust, everything is taking place. Trust, because this is the last light codes for July. We head into August where magnificence is going to happen. Manifestations will start to take place. In Omega, which is what we're going to do, is you're going to work your magic, you know, reassess what belongs in your life, what is serving you, what is not serving you, how is it serving you. Be strong and say, it's okay, I don't need that anymore. I don't need that to get in the way. It's blocking my path. Work your magic. This is Saint Germain. Immerse yourself in the violet flame of Saint Germain and allow that to purify you, to give you the strength and the courage to continue to move forward. The flow of prosperity with Lakshmi coming through. When you're in that space, when you've tapped the tip of the iceberg, when you're birthing that new energy, when you're allowing yourself to be in the joy and the bliss and really have touched God, you will be in the flow of prosperity. Don't worry about whether that is money or whether that is something else, because sometimes because we think that prosperity has to be money, we put the wrong energy around it and we block ourselves. So allow the abundance and prosperity to come to us in all wonderful ways. Allow it to come. People might offer you help. They might offer, you know, a gift or a blessing of some sort, a lunch, a dinner, or anything, but the prosperity will come, and be grateful and show your gratitude for all of that. Be sure that you stay in the flow of prosperity. And if the prosperity is flowing to you, make sure you allow the prosperity to flow back out to others as well. Remember to share. And here she is standing on the lotus. She is so enlightened and so full of everything that she needs comes to her. As you think, so you create. So keep those thoughts in the utmost positive. I really look forward to coming to you next week, because next week will be the 8th of the 8th. No, it won't be. Not next week. Next week will be the 1st of August, and the following week will be Lion's Gate. So we are really in a very powerful portal at the moment, with so much light being offered to us. Don't reject it. Be open. Devote yourself to yourself. Devote some time every day to the purity. meditate every morning. And if you look at my previous video that I put on Saturday, work with that mantra, Raha, and every morning, and you will be uplifted. I'm going to offer you a new one each week. So until next week, it's over and out for me. Lots of love, lots of blessings, and see you then. Bye.